What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So go ahead and park your ass down right there. Now, today I'm going to be talking about something special. This was my number one movie from last year. This was one of my favorite movies that came out last year. And if you know me, then you know I talk about this film a lot. This film is called The Nightingale by Jennifer Kent. Now, if you don't know who Jennifer Kent is the director that did The Babadook. This is her second film. So it's kind of surprising that when this film came out, it didn't really come out with much hype, seeing that Babadook kind of caught fire and it became like this indie trend, right? So what is this film, The Nightingale, about? All right. The Nightingale is a film set in Tasmania during colonial times. So this is the era where the British Army would send prisoners to Tasmania in order to work off their, I guess, like their prison sentence, right? So it's kind of like, in a way, indentured servitude. And we follow this young lady named Clare, who is a prisoner living on Tasmania, working off her debt, and she's under the watchful eye of this lieutenant. I think his name is Lieutenant Hawkins. And during this process, they have a lot of conflict, which eventually leads Claire on this mission to seeking vengeance. Now, the one reason why I like this film is because, one, it's an era piece. So it's set in Tasmania. And in Tasmania, they have Aboriginal people. So, you know, most films don't really tend to get people that fit that category to play those roles. But in this film, they did. The character that plays Billy, who was the Aboriginal guide in this film, the one who's showing Claire the way how to maneuver the land in this isolated area or foresty area in the Aboriginal in Tasmania, right? So we have Billy, the guy who plays Billy. It's amazing, right? Because this man doesn't have an acting background. He is if I'm not mistaken, he's a famous YouTuber that's known for dancing. He has no film background. He has no acting background. He is just wet behind the ears, right? And he comes in this movie and he does an amazing job as Billy the guide in this film, right? So one of the great aspects of this film is that they have people that are actually Aboriginal in the damn film, which to me speaks a lot, right? So me personally, I love revenge flicks, like films that are seeking revenge and things like that. That's why I like a lot of Korean films. I think you guys probably heard me say this several times. Now, basically, this movie is a quest because it's starting from one point and going all the way to another point. And it's like I said, she's seeking revenge. So she's basically tracking these army men or this lieutenant that she's seeking vengeance with. And she's using Billy as her guide in order to go and help her track this man down. Now, there's things that happen along the way. Now, what do I like? There's a lot of things that I like about this film. One thing I like about this film is this. This is one of the most realistic movies when it comes to a revenge film. There's this cliche that when you have a revenge flick and somebody seeks their revenge, let's say the first person they kill, boom, they kill them. All of a sudden after that, they just become this master murderer. Like to me, it always kind of like, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. But this film actually dives into the psyche of that. Not everybody is built to be a murderer. Not everybody can kill. And also on top of that, in this film, when you kill somebody, not saying like, because there's a group of men. It's not just one person that she's seeking vengeance on. It's a group of men. So when you in these films, or in this film in particular, you have a scene where she kills somebody. And you can see that there is a moment of psychological reflection where this act isn't giving me the gratification that I want. This isn't taking the pain away. This is supposed to make me feel better, and I don't feel better, right? And that's an honest emotion that might happen with somebody. It's not just this boom, I killed this person. Oh, I feel a lot better. Let me go ahead and kill the next one. Or let me go get the next person. Or let me get the person after that. And you just become this just mass murdering, just mastermind. Like, no, it doesn't happen like that. This movie dives into the psyche of that not everybody's built to be a murderer, right? And not everybody has the mind or the mentality that can handle that. Also, is this act going to gratify me? This movie also takes, and the one thing I like about Air Pieces is when they stay true to the nature. This, if I'm not mistaken, this era was called the Black Wars. And in the Black Wars, it was basically the British people versus the Aboriginal people. They were hunting them down and killing the natives, right? And they called them the blacks because they looked black, right? They looked like they were African American. So in this film, it talks about the racial tension between, well, not really racial tension, well, yeah, sort of the racial tension between the Aboriginal people and the British colonizers. They were in that area during that time, and they were basically killing off the native population. And in order to, I guess, like humanize them, or to, you know what I mean, like humanize them, bunny ears. And this movie looks into that, and it looks into the kind of like the racial turmoil between the two groups in this during this era, and it stays true to that nature. Also, the one thing, Claire in this film, the main character, the main woman that we're following, she's from Ireland. She's a prisoner that was brought from Ireland. So she, in a way, understands how the Aboriginal people feel, especially Billy, in regards to the treatment of people outside of their pack. You get what I'm saying? So this movie also kind of touches on class, because although she's a prisoner, she talks down to Billy as if he's beneath her. And all in all, like I said, like Billy's a tracker. He's a tracker, but she's a prisoner, and she's acting like Billy is beneath her. And another thing I like about this film too, is that it has a lot of character development. You go from a person that might come from a superiority complex to understanding, and then actually befriending somebody that they once looked down on, which is a very interesting concept to look at during these films, because honestly, I didn't expect it, right? So those two things are mainly the things that I really, really enjoyed about this film. The pacing in this film is amazing. As far as the score goes of the film, I I really don't remember much about the score, but the film did have a lot of singing, right? Not like singing as in a musical, but singing as in the character that plays Claire. She's a singer, so she's also a prisoner, but they also make her sing from time to time, right? And she breaks out in song maybe like one or two times during the movie, but it's not like a song like a full set orchestra and like it's a whole new world. No, it's not like that. It's it's basically like she's just singing a cappella, right? And then also you can tell she kind of does this to numb the pain of whatever she's going through during this film. Now, this film is kind of bloody. This film also has scenes in it that might be hard for people to watch, because it's a very, very, the first act is a very hard watch, not gonna lie. And it's not because it's uninteresting, it's because of what takes place in that first act. The first act is very brutal, and it comes at you kind of quick. You're just like, damn, did that just happen? Like that really just happened. Wow. Right. And it can be hard for some people to watch that first act and get through it. Like, I've been in comment sections where people were like, "Oh man, I couldn't get past this one scene." I'm like, "Dang, well, you missed out because it was a great movie." Now, all other than that, the film does have a little bit of blood in it. The film also explores like a little bit of Aboriginal culture, which is also very interesting. The guy that plays Billy, also known as Mangara, which is his tribal name. He kind of breaks out into like his own little tribal song here and there throughout the film, and it's kind of interesting to watch. It's interesting to watch when if you're interested in that kind of cultural aspect. Now, what else is great about this film? The man who plays Lieutenant Hawkins he plays his role so well that he makes you hate him. He makes you hate him, and those films are very good when they make you hate them. Like you're just like sitting there like this sniveling little bastard. When you hate him, that means that they're doing a good job. It kind of reminds me of like how I hated what's his name from Detroit. I hated that guy in that movie, but that just means he did a really good job and he was very believable in his role. Now, I already told you guys that this was my number one film from last year, so you already know what I'm going to give this film. I'm giving this film a 5 out of 5. This film was excellent. I'm surprised that it didn't get as much hype behind it because this is Jennifer Kent's second movie. Also, seeing the success of the Babadook, this really surprised me, right? This movie was amazing. I remember I saw this trailer when I went to track down Luz I think I was in Pasadena. I went all the way to Pasadena to see this damn movie Luz. And during the trailer for The Nightingale came out. And I'm like, damn, that movie looks interesting. It was that and some other film that I saw and I didn't like. But after that, I tracked this film down. Like I literally tracked it down. And I eventually ended up seeing it in Hollywood, at the ArcLight in Hollywood. This film was very, very good. And it's like that's kind of hard for me to say that. It says a lot about the film, especially because this movie was on par with Parasite to me. Like it was a real hard pick between this and Parasite, but I gave this one the edge, maybe off of bias because I really like not re- I like era pieces. Like I like era pieces like Gangs of New York. Gangs of New York is pretty true to the era. So I like era pieces, historical pieces, right? So Nightingale, great film. I give it a 5 out of 5. If you could track this thing down, I really recommend going to get it. The copy that I have, this one right here, if I'm not mistaken, is produced by Shout Factory. Even though Rotten Tomatoes is kind of biased, or Rotten Tomatoes, you could buy those. This is an indie film, so when you see indie films or like films that people don't really know about, and you see this little Rotten Tomatoes thing, you know it's real because that means it wasn't bought. There's other films that get high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's because, they put out that cash confetti. But this film, I mean, nobody really knows about this film, and for it to have that higher of a rating, it means it must be actually a good film, right? So that's my review for The Nightingale. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Get your ass out of here. I'll see you another day. Adios.